in high school, it was never Rozaay. I never heard that. But then it was like after the whole Rick Ross phase and everybody was on Rick Ross. I'm being serious. Then it was like, oh, Randy Rozaay.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So then all of a sudden I hear Rozaay Management. Literally one day I'm taking a nap and like we've been friends forever. So like, yeah, we have.
Yeah, no. I was had an itch.
We've been friends for a while. So then I remember I think we were at, I don't know, we were at Afia's house. And I'm literally in the couch taking a nap. And all of a sudden my phone starts going off and I'm like, Olivia, my best friend, hey Liv, hey girl. She's like, oh my gosh, Joyce, Randy got drafted. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, he's on the TV. He got drafted. And then she's like, do you guys still talk? Like, girl. And I'm like, what
is she talking about?
Nah, so first of all, Olivia's crazy.
Olivia, you're not.
So I think Twitter started coming around when I was at Laurier.
Okay.
And I had to come up with a Twitter name. So that's when I came up with Randy Rozaay. Because in high school, there was a couple of people that called me Rozaay.
Rozaay.
They would put my first initial and my last name together for some strange reason.
You're original.
So then Rick Ross came with Ricky Rozaay, and I was like, oh, let me get that back.
No,
Randy Rozaay.
His nickname is Rodney Stuckey.
Randy Stuckey.
No, Rodney Stuckey.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Anyways, fast forward. The draft happened, and at the draft, like if you're considered to go like top 10 or whatever, you sit in the green room. And I was sitting at the table with Anthony, and he got picked. He went number 1, and like the TV came on me, so like I got a little bit of TV time. And
what was that feeling like when you hear
it was
at number 1? But you knew from some time that he was gonna be number 1.
No,
or it was a shock?
I literally found out when the world found out.
Shock. Yeah.
What do you mean? So wait, do the players know what number they are before?
No, they have no idea.
Okay, yeah.
So we were literally sitting there, and one of the draft analysts was like, "Yeah, I could see you guys going number 8 to Detroit." Okay. I was like, "Okay, Detroit is blessed. It's
right there.
It's down the street from home. I could be in Brampton in 2 seconds."
Yeah.
And then we're sitting there, and as we're sitting there, like we're all like, I think it's 6 of us at the table: his mom, his brother, his nephew, his agent, and myself. We're sitting there, and the lady that gives you your hat that you put on, she comes around and she goes, "You guys are going number 1." So the commissioner comes on the thing, but she's like, "Be cool," because they bring the camera like in front of you before they say it, so they can get your initial reaction. Yeah. So she says that, and I was like, "Oh." So then the guy comes and he goes, Anthony Bennett, and I was just like, "What the hell?" And I just, I don't know.
Feeling like
it was just an adrenaline rush. I was just like, I thought I got drafted. That was that's how I felt.
Because everyone's like, he made it. And it's like, girl, call him. Like what? And everyone at Afia's house is like, oh, you know him? And I was like, yeah. And then I grab my phone and I look at my phone, and like everybody that knows that we're friends or we're associated, they're all like, Joyce, call Randy. He's gonna be on the phone with you on TV. And I'm just like, so I got my phone. I'm like, congratulations or whatever. And he responded. He's like, yeah, Bennett did it. And I'm like, who's Bennett? I'm still sleeping. Like, who's Bennett?
You know, part of the problem, E-Bone was there.
Yeah, that little shit. Don't edit that out.
All right. We're gonna...
E-Bone was there.
Yeah.
So E-Bone
like, felt like he got drafted too.
No, E-Bone was like, oh, we have a Ghanaian in the NBA. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He's taking beer pictures. And I'm just like, yo, bro, stop. But nah, that was an interesting time.
Was it overwhelming? Was it like, oh my goodness, this is my first client and he is number 1.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to do. Wash his car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So were you a little bit? You were like scared at?
Oh,
what was
petrified. Every little like I had met, like he was supposed to go to LA.
Yeah.
And I booked him on a flight connecting through Atlanta, then stopping in Memphis, and then going to LA.
Come on.
Then the flight from Atlanta to like Memphis got canceled. Then he was stuck in Atlanta, no hotel. It was,
Oh man.
it was just like a huge, like an
Learning
extremely big learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no one to really turn to for like information. So I just had to learn as I grew. But being around him, I learned like what it took to be an NBA player. Like I had spent time with Tristan. Shout out to Tristan, Brampton's finest.
You support each other.
Yeah,
Hey,
for
Chloe.
sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
And yeah, that time that I spent with him kind of gave me the courage and the knowledge to start Rozaay Management. So Anthony was in Cleveland, and we went to Minnesota. We were in Minnesota, and then from Minnesota, you had the option.
A question about like what like around like I guess the trade times. Are you getting like a bunch of text messages like yo?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
So
if
it's
there's
a stressful
anything.
time, man.
I mean, it can be. It depends on how you receive it. But anything that had anything to do with his name, like people would hit me up, like, "Oh, I heard Anthony's doing this," or da da da, and I'm just like, "Don't pay attention to the media. The media's job
it's usually
is
all fake, yeah.
some of it, most of it, most of it.
Yeah.
The media's job is to just report stories.
That's
so any like when he wasn't playing because they said he had sleep apnea. I'm like, what the hell is sleep apnea?
Yeah.
How do you even spell that? Like, oh, his asthma affects his breathing, so he's not playing. Like little stupid things, and I'm just like, nah, that's not it. But back to the original point, he after Minnesota, he had the option of either going to Portland or coming to Toronto, and he chose to come back to Toronto. So when he came to Toronto, that's when I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start my own company, just because. And a couple of reasons was because one, a lot of people knew me as, oh, that's Anthony Bennett's boy, right? So one, I wanted to kind of brand myself, but then two, like I had met so many different players from just being around him, right, and being in different spaces. So I'm like, this could be an opportunity to monetize these relationships. Exactly. So I started the company, and then a couple months later, they announced All-Star Weekend's coming to Toronto.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that was a
God,
yeah.
Is that you?
So now things are running.
Now things are kind of happening in my favor.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I like this. So All-Star Weekend's coming. I'm like, all right, I gotta have some kind of presence. I don't know what type, but some kind of presence. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna just throw a party. So I threw a party on the Thursday of All-Star Weekend. Didn't think much of it. I just thought, maybe some people would be in there and we'll see what happens. And I'm like, let's bring in Andre Drummond, who's an all-star. We had Dwight Powell, who's a Canadian. He played in the rookie-sophomore game. Kelly Olynyk, who's also a Canadian. And we had Jonas Valanciunas from Toronto.
Sure, some good names.
Yeah, it was decent. Yeah. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal had a party that night, and Andrew Wiggins had a party that same night. That same night.
You did good,
so I'm just like, I don't know if this is going to be good.
Yeah.
But what I did was, I hit a baller alert. I'm like, yo, how much to post? Because I knew a bunch of Americans are coming to town. Let me get another audience behind this party. So they were like, oh, it's $350. I'm like, all right. So then Baller Alert posted the flyer. I had people from ESPN, Twitter, like all the corporate people were hitting me. They're like, hey, like, how do we get access to your party? I was like, oh, okay, this is how this thing works.
You just paid.
I just paid. So they all came, and we probably hit capacity at like 11:45 on a Thursday.
You could not. Like people were asking me to call him to get them tickets.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. But what was different was so Rozaay has like 2 rooms. So one room we made like the VIP room, right? So to get in that room, you have to buy a table. So we put each player at a table, and then we would have a corporate beside. So we had Acura in there. We had a couple other companies. It would be corporate player, corporate player, corporate player.
That's
so
good.
We sold the opportunity to party with players, and then Andre Drummond got on the DJ, whatever, and started DJing. And they were like, "Oh my God, he DJs too!" Like, you guys are idiots, guy. But that thing was sold off. We probably had over 20 players in there, NBA players in there. So it was dope. And then Allen Iverson came. This is the part that hurts. Yeah, he came.
You said it hurts?
Yeah, because he came at like 1. Obviously, he's gonna come at very late. And someone calls me outside. It's like, Randy, we have an issue outside. So I go outside, and they're like, this guy was asking for you. I'm like, who is it? And they point. It's Allen Iverson. I was like, oh. He had to answer. No, I'm playing. I was like, "What's up, sir? How you doing?" He's like, "I'm good." I was like, "So what's the situation?" And I was like, "The police officer comes over. He's like, hey, if you let anyone else in, we'll shut down this whole thing."
Frick.
So I turned and I was like,
You turned down Iverson,
Yeah, I
fam?
did.
So sorry, I voted.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Please.
So he left. But yeah, that was kind of like a staple where people were just like, what is Rozaay management?
Yeah,
So
yeah.